Hey guys, this is Max from mixelite.com, and in this video you're going to learn how to quickly record your vocals in FL Studio, the best paid and free autotune plugins, how to choose the best settings for your vocals, and how to hide it if you want to trick people into thinking that you actually sing good. So what you're going to do is head over to this plus in your playlist view and right click it. It adds a mixer track and connects it with a separate track in your playlist view, so that if you change the name of it, it will pop up like that. Then you'll see the input source. You always want to choose the mono one, and for me that will be my first input. It will ask you if you want to switch to external input only. If you want to record a dry vocal and then process it, 99% of the time you will want to record dry vocals. That's why you'll click yes. This is basically this setting over here in the second button, external input only. It's also over here. So those two buttons are over here in your mixer, and this button to record is also on your mixer track. This is called arming the track. So if we arm it, it's ready to record. If you'd like to hear yourself when recording, this is when you'll set the monitor external input to, for example, when armed. And now I can hear myself. You'll probably hear a little bit of the latency. That's when you need to go to your audio input-output settings and make sure that the buffer length is set to the lowest amount. Right now I use FL Studio ASIO, but if you have a mic, you probably also have an audio interface. That's why you should also have your driver in here, and that's when you can achieve the lowest latency. You need to test out those settings, because if you're recording on a project that already has a lot going on, you probably won't be able to achieve very low latency. There are two fixes for that. One is, of course, recording in a separate project. You can easily just open another project file by opening FL again. And second really cool one is setting the pre-delay to like 1 second over here. Of course, everything else will be 1 second later, so you won't really be able to listen to your track, but it will just allow you to quickly record something if you don't really need to hear yourself. And then you can just reset that and make sure, of course, that the placement in your playlist is correct. Now to record, you need to right click the record button and enable the audio recording. Now you need to left click record and play your track. As you can see, we are immediately recording into the playlist. Now, a cool thing is that when you want to re-record the part again, you don't have to delete anything. You can just play it again and it will add the recording. Then with mute tool, you can choose the best parts of your recording or use a slice tool like this. Now you have everything you need to record. Now you'll probably want to sound good. The first way is to spend years learning how to sing, and another way is just to use autotune. The industry standard autotune is from Antares. There's another free one that's popular that I don't recommend, is M-Auto Pitch, more like M-Auto Ditch. Just kidding, it's good for format shifting, but its autotune algorithm just does something weird with the waveform when I was testing. An actual really good free autotune is from Auburn Sounds. You only have to worry about those two knobs, where enable kind of works like mix knob. You don't really have to worry about it, just put it to 100%, and then smooth works pretty much as retune speed over here, and you choose the scale over here. FL Studio also has a built-in autotune which is called pitcher. There's just one knob for speed, but I cannot confidently recommend that for you when you want to get quality results. You can also use Wave's real-time plugin. It's also really good and much cheaper autotune. We are also Wave's partners, so if you want an extra discount on this autotune, you can go to the first link in the description, join Mix Elite membership, and save even more. The speed over here is the same as retune speed over here, and note transition is very similar to flex tune on Waves. You also have the vibrato effect, which is very similar to natural vibrato, and correction is mix. But let's jump into Antares. So the first most important part when you're setting your autotune is setting your key. I know that the key of my track is A minor, so I will choose it from this dropdown. If you've got the Antares bundle, you'll have the auto key plugin that if you put on top of your instrumental for a few seconds, it will tell you the key of your track. Don't click the auto key button, it's just to receive the key from the other plugin. Next thing you definitely need to change is your input type. For male vocals, you will most probably use alto tenor. This is really important setting, and it will change a lot when it comes to the quality. So retune speed controls how quickly it corrects your singing to the closest note. But limited by the scale we've set up here. That's why setting up the correct scale is so important. The default 20 milliseconds is already pretty quick and will be definitely enough for most applications.
I'm by myself in the field, me and my semi. I'm by myself in the field, me and my semi.
And probably will be enough. Going down to 5 or 0 milliseconds,
I'm by myself in the field, me and my semi.
It will make you sound like a robot. And the lower the knob, the slower the retune speed. So the more unprocessed your vocal will start to sound, making your singing basically sound more natural. Let's put it at 10, so we have
Feel like nobody around, gonna
this cool creative effect. Flex tune kind of works like retune speed, but it's more like allowing through really quick changes in pitch. You can easily hear that if I increase the retune speed.
feel like nobody around.
And if I increase this to, let's say, 30 milliseconds,
Feel like nobody around, gonna
think about it like smoothing out the transitions between those very quick changes. You can leave it at 5 milliseconds to make the vocal
feel like nobody around, gonna semi.
still pretty digital, but slowly a little bit of this realism is coming through. If you're using waves, there's actually this link button, makes a really quick retune speed, but keeps the note transition a little bit higher. So basically that would be like setting the retune speed to 0 and then flex tune to 50, right? So
Feel like nobody around, gonna
and waves.
feel like nobody around, gonna semi. I'm by myself. Feel like nobody around, gonna semi.
Then Humanize works only on longer notes. It doesn't affect this kind of quick rap lyrics. You will be able to hear it over on a little bit longer sustained samples.
I'm the bar. I'm the bar.
Okay, so we got a problem over here. We have this weird clicking. This is fixed by setting up proper tracking. So it's set by default to 50%, which actually for a default preset is a little bit too much. If you have a good recording without any noise, you would want to put it to about 30, 20, something like that.
I'm the bar.
You can see no clicking at all. And if I put it to like 90,
I'm the bar.
there's a lot of weird popping, right? This will always depend on the way your vocal was recorded. For studio quality recordings, you want to put the tracking a little bit higher than default, right?
I'm the bar.
And now let's increase Humanize, which humanizes the long and sustained notes.
I'm the bar.
I'll turn it to 100%.
I'm the bar.
So what it does is, let's say we have this long sample, the Humanize actually kind of like turn down the mix of your autotune after a certain amount of time in those long sustained notes. This is especially useful for this sang vocals where you have this natural vibrato effects. And since most problematic thing about singing out of tune is the very beginnings of the notes you sing, since for us humans, it's just really hard to immediately hit the exact note we are looking for. So if we turn on the Humanize a lot, that will kind of like make the autotune work only in basically the beginnings of the different notes you sing, right? So that's without Humanize.
I'm the bar. Walk around.
Right, that's a little bit too much because we are going out of tune over here.
Walk around.
I don't really need any humanizing effect on this. Then natural vibrato.
Walk around.
Very funny effect.
I'm by myself in the field.
Feel it will kind of like try to boost this natural effect of our singing.
I'm by myself in the field. Me and my semi.
Feel.
I'm by myself in the field.
And if we go to minus amounts,
I'm by myself in the field. Me and my.
It kind of just does the same thing, but just reverses the pitch basically, right? This setting might be useful if you're trying to hide your autotune. And speaking of that, to hide the fact that you are using autotune as much as possible, you would be using a low retune speed, high flex tune or no transition on waves, and higher Humanize. You will see that the lower you go with the retune speed though, some notes will start to sound off. So in this part,
I'm by myself in the field.
you can clearly hear the autotune over there, right?
Field.
So if you wanted to like hide your autotune, you would lower the retune speed.
Field.
and it starts to already sound off. So you balance that a little bit.
Feel me, feel me, feel me.
And let's say this settings sounds off in this part, but everywhere else,
I remember how bitch told me that I'm out of LA.
it sounds pretty nice, right? So one way would be, of course, to automate the retune speed, but you can also simply create very, very slight pitch automation and do it like that. Make sure to set it to Stretch Pro. And if you increase it just a little bit in the problematic moment, basically.
Feel, I'm by myself in the feel, me and my semi. I'm by myself in the feel. I'm by myself in the feel.
Right, so we can keep the retune speed as it is and just fix it in parts that otherwise you would need to set the retune speed to higher amounts. However, the best way to hide your autotune is not using it at all and instead choosing something like Graph Editor. This one in Antares works perfectly fine. The industry standard, of course, is the Melodyne. In FL Studio, of course, there's Newton built in. There's a lot more manual work, but you'll always get more natural results and have a lot more control. And if you'd like to hear yourself with autotune when you're recording, in Waves it's actually called real time, so you don't really have to set anything up. You just need to change it to monitor external input to when armed, for example. And in Antares version, you would need to go to settings and use low latency over here. You also have this cool form and shifting knob.
I'm by myself in the fair, me and my son. I remember her, but told me that I'm out of LA. Now she looking at my.
So I've added a few backing vocals and I just basically slapped our vocal presets after the autotune on all of those layers, and this is how it sounds.
Walk around, all I feel is envy. Pockets get a mega, but my heart is still so empty. Feel like nobody around, you're not the same. I'm by myself in the field, me and my semi.
If you want to learn music production and mixing from start to finish, go to the first link in the description and try out Mix Elite membership, where you get access to all of our courses with hundreds of lessons on all topics, samples and presets that are proven to work. Also, every week we jump on a group coaching call, and as a member you get unlimited one-on-one feedback on your music. Just for giving it a try, you get some insane bonuses. Okay, so you know how to record an autotune. Now it would be cool to make the vocal actually sound good. To do that, check this video next.